The rapper, whose real name is Rakim, was accused of assaulting a teenager in the city.
A Swedish court has ruled that rapper ASAP Rocky is guilty of assault for his role in a street fight in Sweden.
We was walking. Rocky wanted to, go sightseeing because he likes to do things like that. So I had a ASAP Rocky defense t-shirt on. So Rocky said, bro, you should change it on the other side so nobody will know who, I am. So, know who we are. So I walked around. There was a little ice cream stand. So I walked around and changed my shirt. Flipped it inside out. So we proceeded to walk. So we were walking and walking. So, Rocky's, he likes to look at like fine things as far as the architecture. So he likes buildings and stuff like that, how they're built. And he was like saying how this is a beautiful country. So we kept walking. So we continued on. We kept walking and walking and walking. So we were just looking in the storefronts and stuff and, kept looking. So we came to this one corner where we made a right. And when we made a right, we all stopped for a second. So we called the DJ, Rocky's DJ, to see if he wanted to come, sightseeing with us. Okay. So we walked across the street by the corner store. It's called Max. So we all decided, forget this walking, let's get scooters. So it was 4 scooters there, but it was 5 of us.
Hey you, can you hear me? Psst. Hello, press that subscribe button please. I love you. Peace.
So the system tried the scooters. They wasn't working they just wasn't working. So the next thing, Rock stayed, he sat down for a minute. So I stood over in front of him to block him because I didn't need nobody to know who he was. So after that, we were just talking around to see what's our next move, where we were going to go or how we were going to get there. So I'm standing in front of him. So this guy comes up and asks me something. I don't know what he's talking about. So when he came up, he asked me something, and I didn't understand his language. So I told him to go down. I pointed to the right. I pointed to the left and told him to go down that way. So then after that, about a minute and a half later, he comes back and asks me something else. I'm like, at that point, I don't know what his intentions are, but I'm looking at him like in a funny way, like now he's about to harass me. When he came back, I told him to go to the right now. I told him to go down that way. And I'm noticing that because I'm a bodyguard. And I can pick up on certain things when people are acting fidgety or they just not acting right. So his friend that was with him went into one of the stores, but he came back to me for the 3rd time. At that point, I'm looking at him like, yo, what's wrong with you? And he's saying something, but I'm looking at his eyes. His eyes are real glossy, like he's on something. Like he just wants to, like either start trouble or he can't. Like he's just harassing me. When someone comes back, they bother you and following you, and you tell them to go away for the 2nd time, that's considered harassing. So you're allowed to protect yourself. So he comes back again, and I'm like, yo, what is wrong with you? So he's turned the level up to really harassing us now. So I already know where Rocky's at. So I got him secured. So I walk him down. I'm like, yo, just go down this way. So I'm walking him down. So I'm walking him down with my body. I'm not touching him anything. So I'm walking him down with my body like, yo, stay down here, go away. And I'm constantly telling him that. So once I get him down by McDonald's, I already know Rock's up by Max's. So I turn around to walk back up to the principal. So as I turn around to walk back, he's following me again. So I stop And I tell him, yo, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And he's just looking like somebody that's really on some type of drug. So as I turn around and I'm telling him, go away, go away, go away, he gets too close to me. So therefore, I with open hands, I push him. I pick him up a little bit and push him down so he can stay away from us. Now, as I push him and I tell him to go away, he gets a little hostile, and he gets like frustrated and real angry. Mm-hmm. So he follows. So I turn around and I'm watching him, but I know his friend is in the store. Rocky's still on the corner, so I have to protect him. So then I have to watch and make sure the other one doesn't run out and run to Rocky. And then I'm watching this one, the one with the glossy eyes that's acting crazy and acting very, very hostile towards us, and we don't even know him. So then as he's walking up behind me, I turn back around. I'm like, yo, what is wrong with you? Like, why you keep following us? So now as he's following me, when I turn around, I'm frustrated because I keep telling him, like, go away and stay down there. So I grab him up by his shoulders and I push him, but I'm strong. So as I pushed him and he went backwards, he said something about, oh, you pushed me or something. And he took his headphones. No, he swung at me first. He swung at me with a closed fist. So he swung at me with his right hand, closed fist. He tried to hit me. He tried to punch me in my face. But I backed up a little bit and I moved out of the way of the punch. So when he seen that he couldn't hit me, he just really got enraged of anger and hostile and just started really showing that he was really on something. And he took his headphones off and threw them at me. So when he took his headphones off and threw them at me, he was trying to throw them and hit me in my face with them. But he went down in a downward motion, and that's when I caught him and brought him towards my body. And when he threw the headphones at me, when I caught him, it cut my two middle fingers, and that just started to heal, and it started bleeding very bad. So I backed up. He was trying to pursue on what he was going to try to do to me next, and he was really acting crazy for no reason. So I knew Rocky was back over there, so I started walking back. So that's when my team walked over towards me to really see what was going on with this guy. So David was the first one on my right, so I turned around and was like, yo, let's just leave. Let's just get away from this guy. So we walked back. So I walked back over, and we all went down because we wanted to just leave from over there. So we didn't know where we was going. So we started walking on the side of Max's. But the guy, I turned around, the guy was still following us. So I told Rocky and them to go ahead. I let them get a little distance from me. And I turned around and asked the guy, yo, why are you still following us? Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you still following us? So I turned and started walking towards Rocky and him, but they're further down. And as I look over to my shoulder, he's still following us. So as I'm walking down towards the ending of like Max's, but on the other side, so at that time, I done told him about another 6 or 7 times, like, stop following us, stop following us. So as I'm to keep telling him stop following us, he's mumbling something. I don't understand what he's talking about. So we get down on the corner. So I tell Rocky and them to go ahead up a little ways, a little further from me. So I turn around, he's still there. Now he has something in his hand. So now I'm really watching him. I'm watching him much harder now. So I really don't want to turn my back to him because I don't know if he has something sharp in his hand that he could stab me with. So then I turn and start walking over towards Rocky and them. So as I'm walking towards Rocky, this dude is still following me. Turn around and tell him once again, yo, what is wrong with you? Stop following us. Stop following us. So three girls come up with, I don't know their nationality, but they had their heads and stuff, their bodies covered. So they asked him, yo, why are you following them? Why are you following them? So then he was saying something to them, and then the girl said, "Yo, just give him your name." Then Rocky yelled out, "We're not giving him our name." So as they're talking to the girls, as he's talking to the girls, his friend is behind him. Now his friend is like behind him, but on his side. And his friend had something in his hand. It looked at green. It was something like a greenish color. So then Rock walked over and talked to the girls and told the girls, "We don't want no problems with these guys. These guys keep following us, and we don't know why they keep following us." So then after that, I'm telling this dude, "Yo, why don't you just go away, man? What's wrong with you?" And then when I noticed, I don't know if I heard it clearly, but I saw it on TMZ that two girls had came up and told Rock that the same two guys that squeezed their butt cheeks like their asses. So then Rocky walked back over towards, and he was on my right-hand side. So the first three girls, I guess he didn't like what they were saying. So he must have got real frustrated and real angry, and he took a swing at me. And when he took a swing at me, it brushed me, but I moved out of the way. Rocky came to my defense because he's seen it was 2 against 1. And I had to make sure that whatever that guy had in his hand, that, it didn't catch me, because I didn't really know what was in his hand. So that's when Rocky caught the guy and slung him. I was watching his other friend, and his other friend took off. So in the whole matter, so when I looked over, I rushed over to the pile where guys were swinging and stuff, and I broke it up. The guy that was down on the ground, he got up on it. When everybody broke out, he got up on his feet.
Hey you, it's me again. Ding diggity dong. I'm just here checking if you like this content or not. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. And yeah, thank you.
Towards the corner. I ran to the other side of the building, to the other corner, came back. When I came back, everybody was scattered. I saw Rocky. I picked him up, and we left.
Tim, jag tänkte börja med att be dig att berätta lite om din anställning och vad det är du jobbar med.
Okay. My employment is I'm a bodyguard. I've been doing this for 15 years.
Och den här dagen, vad är din roll i sällskapet?
My role in that group was to be the bodyguard to protect Rocky.
Okej. Och om vi då går till Max, så tänkte jag ställa bara några frågor om det skedet. Och den första frågan som måste ställas är: varför blir du fysisk gentemot målsägaren?
Say it again. I got physical because he didn't follow proper command when I sat right there and told him to go away, go away.
Och rent allmänt, brukar ni avvisa alla som kommer fram, eller var det någonting särskilt den här gången?
In this time, I turned people away, but in this incident, this guy came up for the second, third, fourth, and fifth time. Then I knew something was wrong by looking at him. And his friend, I had noticed a little earlier, had a cut across his nose and scratches on his face.
Vad är syftet med din våldsanvändning?
My main use of violence was to keep him away from the principal, which was Rocky.
Och sen så har jag ju också sett de här filmerna. Och jag kan inte låta bli att notera att du är fysisk, ska vi säga, i ett första skede så som det ser ut att vara på ditt initiativ. Men sen verkar du bli attackerad av den här killen. Men
Yes.
efter det så använder du inget våld. Stämmer det?
Yes, correct.
Ja, det stämmer.
Varför är det så? Nu har han ju attackerat dig.
The case when I had to put force to get him away from Mr. Myers, because of who he is and his net worth, he makes a lot of money, and plus he carries and wears a lot of jewelry. So people always trying to come up to him. He's been in multiple fights, and it's not him fighting. It's people around him. He's been cut before. He's been robbed before. And this is why he carries a bodyguard.
Men Tim, min fråga, om jag får ställa den igen, den är ju inriktad på dig. Det jag är nyfiken på är, varför är du passiv efter att du blivit anfallen?
Because that's not what we came to this country for. We came to this country to do a show. We didn't come to bother nobody. Rocky wanted to go out sightseeing like he does numerous times when we go to different countries.
Vill du säga något mer? Förlåt.
I was going to say, yes. There was no need to show more force because Rocky was secure, and I'm not here to harm anybody or beat up anybody. That's not my job. My job is to protect and serve.
Jag ska inte borra mer i det här, men på det här temat har jag en sista fråga. Man ser ju på filmen att de här personerna ändå i nästa skede kommer att stå väldigt nära Rakim. Och att Rakim också kommer att, ska vi säga, ha sina händer på dem och annat. Och den frågan som man skulle kunna ha utifrån är, varför tillåter du det här då?
The reason I allowed it because Rocky was standing on my right hand side, and I had enough distance to where if he had raised his hand one time, I was able to push him and grab Rocky and pull him back.
Noterade du om Rocky försökte prata med de här personerna?
Rocky came over and spoke. Rocky came over to diffuse the situation. Like sometimes he'll come over to help because that's what he does because he's that type of person.
Kände du dig trygg med det här?
I really can't say if I felt safe or not. I was just worrying about Rocky, and he was on my right-hand side. So I had enough time to protect him if the guy would have tried anything else.
Och om vi fortsätter till nästa skede. När ni går från Max mot gränden, om du tänker oss dig att det är en separat episod.
Okay.
Då har du berättat här, om jag förstått det rätt, att de här personerna följer efter er.
Yes.
Ja.
Och du har också berättat att ni flera gånger försöker få dem att sluta.
Over and over, yes.
Om och om igen, ja.
Varför går ni bara inte därifrån?
Because we were trying to leave, and I'm not from here, so I don't know which way to carry to, take Rocky.
Kände ni att ni fick möjligheten att lämna?
We didn't get no, we didn't.
Nej, det fick vi inte.
Varför inte det?
We didn't get it because they kept following us, and it was too close.
Okej. Och sen så kommer vi till det här som händer uppe i gränden. Och då är jag egentligen, ska vi säga, nyfiken på två saker. Kan du så noga som du kan försöka återigen att förklara hur ni alla stod och vad det var som hände efter att de här flickorna hade kommit och beklagat sig över att någon hade tafsat på dem?
We were standing like in the middle, over towards the right a little bit. The two guys were on my left. Rocky was to my right. The assistant was in the back, over towards the right. And David and Bloody were behind me.
Och vad hände då?
So then what happened then was after he started talking to the girls, when I guess they didn't agree with what he was saying, he swung at me. And when he swung at me, I backed up and I moved back because I didn't know what was in his hand.
Vem svingar?
Who swung at you?
The defendant.
Den tilltalade.
Him.
Jag menar han.
Är han den enda som gör någonting?
His friend had, I think it was something green in his hand. What he did was, after his friend swung at me and tried to hit me in my face, he took off and ran to the corner.
Okej. Och sen, och jag har förstått det rätt, och vad gör Rakim då?
Rakim, when I moved from the guy swinging and hit me, Rocky came over to defend me. He caught the guy and he slung the guy.
Och då skulle man ju kunna kanske tänka sig följande fråga. Vem är vems livvakt? Är du Rockys eller Rakims livvakt eller är Rakim din livvakt?
I'm Rakim's bodyguard.
Och jag har förstått att det är Rakim som är skyddsobjektet som du ska ta hand om.
Yes.
Ja.
Hur kan det då komma sig att Rakim blir inblandad i det här slagsmålet?
Because he came to protect me at that point in time. He came to protect me at that point in time because he seen that I was outnumbered 2-1.
Och hur förhåller sig det till protokollet?
That follows protocol. It followed protocol as far as him having my back as well as I have his back.
Man skulle kanske anse att det inte ingår i hans arbetsbeskrivning.
That's not his job description. But him being the kind-hearted person that he is and my boss, he came to my aid when I needed help.
Nu ska jag ställa en hypotetisk fråga och du får ju, ska vi säga, ta den för vad det är. Men om han inte hade ingripit, hade du i och för sig kunnat hantera den här situationen? Tror du det?
No, because I didn't know what he had in his hand and what the other guy had in his hand.
Okej, så utifrån utgångspunkten att de kanske hade någonting i sina händer, då hade det kanske kunnat utveckla sig till någonting du inte hade kunnat hantera själv.
Yes.
Ja.
Då är jag nöjd så, tror jag. Tack så mycket.
Tack. Någon annan svarare?
Nej tack.
Nej tack. Åklagaren ville ställa några frågor. Varsågod.
Nu tog advokaten all tid i och för sig.
Ja.
Även min. Jag har en fråga bara.
Ja, för jag har på nästan en timme nu.
Jag har en fråga bara. Du sa att du avbröt killarna när de stod och måttade slag mot killen som låg ner. Det är riktigt, va? Du avbröt killarna när de stod och måttade slag mot han som låg ner. Var det så?
I came over to break.
Varför kände du ett behov av att sära på dem? Var det inte bra att de oskadliggjorde den här angriparen?
That they neutralized the assailant. Wasn't it not a good thing that they neutralized the assailant?
Say it again.
Was it not a good thing that they were neutralizing the assailant? Why did you feel the need to break it up?
Because that's not what we're here for. That's not I wanted to break the fight up because there was no need for it.
Alltså,
Det fanns inget behov av.
There was no need for guys to be fighting anymore.
Ja, tack, jag stannar.
En sista fråga.
Ja, men advokat Strömberg ska få chans att fråga först.
Ja, tackar ordförande. Jo, först Tim så vill jag ställa dig en fråga om det här allra första skedet. Och då en stilla undran bara, när den här personen kommer fram och frågar någonting som du inte förstår, hur kommer det sig att du pekar i en viss riktning då?
I'm pointing in that direction to get him away from the principal as quick as possible.
Okej.
Jag pekar så
Men
fort som möjligt.
tycker du inte, om du inte förstår vad han säger, tycker du inte att det vore rimligt att till exempel säga I don't understand eller skaka på huvudet eller visa med kroppsspråket att du inte förstår? Skulle inte det vara rimligt?
I showed body language and I pointed and said down that way.
Ja, jag noterar att först så, som jag uppfattar dig så pekar du. Sa du att du pekade bara. Sen kommer han tillbaks och då pekar du ut ett annat håll. Är det rätt uppfattat?
Yes, I pointed the first time one way, I pointed the second time one way, and the third time I walked him down like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Okay.
I knew something was wrong with him.
Okej. Men ursäkta bara min reflektion här, men det känns lite som att du lurar honom i olika riktningar, men jag förstår inte riktigt varför. Gick det inte att få honom att förstå på något sätt att du inte förstod vad han sa?
For one, I'm not from this country. Two, I don't speak his language. And three, I'm not going to let him stand anywhere around the principal for even 2 to 3 seconds. I want to get him away quick as possible, so therefore I won't disrupt the principal, whatever he's doing.
Okej.
Ni behöver inte argumentera med vittnet, utan bara fråga vad hände och så vidare.
Tack, ordförande. Men är det riktigt uppfattat att i det här skedet så hade i och för sig Mustafa fokus på dig och det var så att säga en situation mellan dig och honom? I det här skedet hade han inte fokus på Meyers, Mr. Meyers. Är det rätt uppfattat?
He came up to me, but I don't know what is on his mind. I don't know what he's thinking. He's looking out of his mind. So that's why I sat right there and pointed away so he could get away quick as possible.
En till fråga om situationen utanför Max bara. Sen ska jag gå vidare. Då undrar jag bara som uppfattade det. Hur var det i något skede där tog du eller tog du inte tag i Mustafas hals? Vad är din uppfattning?
I grabbed him up around the collar.
Där kragen är, okej. Så inte runt halsen?
Yes.
Okej.
Ja.
Not that I recall.
Inte så vitt jag minns, nej.
Okej. Ja, jag ska inte säga något. Men och när du gjorde det, bara så jag uppfattar det sista här. Du tog tag runt halsen. Är det din uppfattning eller inte att Mustafa så att säga lyftes från marken när du gjorde det?
Yes, a little bit, yes.
Då går jag vidare. Du nämnde sen, och då befinner vi oss, då har vi gått vidare här in på gränden. Och ni håller på att tala. I ett skede där så säger du att han ville ha era namn. Och då uppfattar jag, är det rätt uppfattat att Mustafa ville ha era namn?
He asked the girls, I guess he asked the girl in his language that, and they said, they related it, they, repeated it back to us and told us that he wanted our names.
Perfekt, då har jag uppfattat det rätt. Och då undrar jag, vet du varför Mustafa ville ha era namn?
No.
Nej.
Då måste jag fråga, sa de här tjejerna något eller sa någon annan vid något tillfälle tog upp frågan om att kontakta polisen?
It's been a month now, so I don't recall that.
Okej. Ja, tack. Då har jag ingen mer fråga.
Tack. Det var någon ytterligare kompletterande fråga?
Skriva